Hello, Math 125 students. I joked in my last video about trying to make work through an exam as fast as possible. This is the winter 2018 exam. And this time, instead of giving full explanations, I just would like to do one quickly, just to sort of, for people that would like me to just work and quit talking. So anyways, I'm just going to work. I'm going to say a little bit less and just kind of talk as I go. So if I plug in a 0, I get 1. If I plug in pi over 6, I'm going to get cosine of pi over 3, which is the x-coordinate at that point in the unit circle, which should be a half. If I was doing this problem myself, I probably would just put a -2 there and put a negative a half to be as fast as possible. This is going to make this u to the fourth. It's actually going to be -4 because when I move that up, it all cancels. So I'm going to get -1/2 u to the -3. It's going to be a -1/3. And I might make a mistake in doing this so fast. And we'll check the solutions quickly at the end. But right now, I would just like to plug this in. So I plug this in. It's 8. I subtract. I get 1. It's 7, 6. Let's move forward. So now I'm going to do u is x squared plus 5, du is 2x dx. Doesn't quite cancel, so I'm going to do 1/2 du. So I'm trying to go, as I said, swiftly. So we're going to get 1/2. There's still going to be an x squared hanging around, but x squared is u minus 5. So we're going to write u minus 5 square root of u du. It's going to be 1/2 the integral of u to the 3/2 minus 5u to the 1/2 du. And this is mostly just showing, we always are explaining, and so students kind of view a lot of these problems as long processes, but part of the reason they're long processes is because I'm explaining every detail as I go. It doesn't have to be like that, so this would be 1/5. The u is x squared plus 5 minus, this is going to be 5/3 after distributing, x squared plus 5 to the 3/2 plus c. Since I'm trying to go fast, I'm not going to check. You shouldn't do this during a test. Okay, then we have a total distance question. Step 1, we're going to set this equal to 0. We're going to factor. If it was me, I'd probably factor out the 6, even though that's kind of slowing me down a little bit. I would do x plus 2, x minus 1 is 0. So I get x equals 1 and x equals -2, but -2 is not in the region. Then I would do these two integrals. 6x squared plus 6x minus 12x. I kind of want to factor out the 6, or maybe it's all right. Let's just take the first one. Either way, when I integrate, it's going to be 2x to the third plus 3x squared minus 12x, but we're going to do it from 0 to 1. When I plug in a 1, I'm getting 5 minus 12 is -7. When I plug in a 0, I get a 0. And then we're going to 2x to the third plus 3x squared minus 12x from 1 to 3. I already know you get a -7 when you plug in 1, but when you plug in a 3, okay, so I'm going to have to work a little bit. It's going to be 54. It's 27 times 2 plus 27 minus 36. Ooh, these two together makes, and I'm not really fast with arithmetic, I'm just well practiced. That's -9, 45, 45, so I'm getting 52, and if you make them both positive numbers, 59. Okay, fundamental theorem of calculus, part 2, it happens to be in the bottom, but g prime, so it's going to be 0 minus sine of pi to the 4x to the fourth times 4x. We're going to plug in a half, so it's going to be negative sine, because the question asks for that, of, let's see, 1/2 is going to be 16. So it ends up being pi over 4 times 2. So it's going to be -√2/2 times 2, which is -√2. Done. Let's keep going. Theory question. So the area from 0 to 4 is 10. The area from 3 to 4 is 2. In my head, I'm thinking those must be connected in some ways. From the area from 0 to 4 is 10, and the area from 0 to 4, and this area is 2. That means that the area from 0 to 3 must be 8. I don't know if that's part of the question. That's just what jumped in my head. I should have kept reading. And then it said f of 3 is 13. Oh, so this is f of 3 minus f of 0 equals 8, and this is 13. I'm sure in my solutions I did something more thoughtful. I was just writing down what I saw. A tomato is thrown downward. Okay, they tell me the acceleration is negative 32. The velocity is negative 32t plus c. The height is negative 16t squared plus ct plus d. At t equals, it's thrown downward. At 3, it's at this height. So h of 3 is 240. V of 3 is negative 110. We're going to plug that information in. So this means if I put a 3 here, I get negative 96 plus c is negative 110, which means c is negative 14. Yes. And that means that, right. And so that means when I put a 3 here and a 3 here, I don't know if I'm keeping up with my 10-minute goal. I'm probably not. I'm going too slow. Times negative 14 plus d has to be 240. So d is going to be 240 plus whatever this is. 16 times 9. 4, 5, 144. That's the second time I've calculated this in these videos. And then I'm going to have a 3 times a 14. So 2, 1, 42, negative 42. So that's going to be 384 minus 42, 342. Hello, interrupting myself briefly in the video. As I went through to grade, I realized I did make a mistake, so I didn't get 100%. I got close. And the mistake was, I was trying to just go as quickly as possible, which is what you shouldn't do, was this was supposed to be added. So back on this question, when I moved it over, so I made a mistake. It shouldn't be that. It should be 384 plus 42, which should be 426. I think everything else checks out with the solutions. So there you go. All right. Feel like that's off a little bit, but again, I'm trying to go quickly, so maybe I don't get 100%. Consider this region, find the value of a that cuts it equally. Oh, that one's going to be quick. The integral from 0 to 2 of ex dx is e to the x from 0 to 2, which is e squared minus 1. That's e to the 0. We want the integral from 0 to a to be half of that, and this would be e to the a minus 1 equals 1/2. So this is actually a really fast question. So you're going to add 1 to both sides. This is 1/2 e squared minus 1/2. And then when you add 1 to both sides, that becomes positive 1/2. So a is the log of 1/2 e squared plus 1/2. Done. Find the volume by rotating around the y-axis. Okay, looks to me like I'd want to use y. It's a disk. It's 0 to 1. It's pi. It's this squared. So all that matters now is me labeling how far this is, which is the radius of my square. And so I'm going to need x equals the square root of r squared minus y squared, square root of r squared minus y squared, and that simplifies to the integral from 0 to 1 of r squared minus y squared dy. And we're treating r like a constant, so this is going to be pi r squared y minus 1/3 r y cubed from 0 to 1. So it's going to be pi r squared minus the third. Done. Next one, let R be the region here. Find the area. That can be done in a few different ways. Just quickly, I'm going to write this as y to the 4th over 81. I don't know what's better. Let's do it in terms of y, because this is 0, this is 3. So it's going to be the integral from 0 to 3 of y to the 4th over 81 dy. If I was doing this, I'd pull out the 81 and I'd write it as y to the 5th, and I'd have a 1/5, and I'd have 0 to 3. So I'd have 1 over 81 to 1/5, 3 to the 5th. Ooh, and I think that simplifies because this was 3 to the 4th, and so this ends up just being 3/5 or 0.6. So all it is obtained by rotating this thing around the vertical line x equals 1. X equals 1 must be over here. And we have this, and we have that. So if we are doing cross sections, it's going to be dy. If we're doing shells, we're doing dx. Now this is not on my fall 2024 exam, but I might as well just do it while I'm here. So this is going to be 0 to 1. This is going to be 0 to 3. If you're going to label in terms of y, then you're trying to label the inner and outer radius of this. And this right here is the y to the... So outer radius is 1, we can see that. The inner radius right here is going to be 1 minus y to the 4th over 81. And then if we just want to complete the picture, if you're doing shells, and this is x, and you have a shell like this, and you rotate around, I'm trying to be really quick. Ooh, I don't know why my shell's so tall. The radius is going to be, so it's going to be 2 pi. The radius is going to be 1 minus x. And then the height is going to be 3 minus whatever that function was, 3 times the 4th root of x. There we go. Let's see how long that took. 10 minutes and 44 seconds. So it shows you can do it fast. I wouldn't take your exam that way, but if you wanted me to quickly give you content, there's as fast about as fast as I'm willing to